Good evening. Good evening, and thank you guys for tuning in to us. Am I live? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Sorry for the delay. As it is when you are doing work that is that has the potential, right, to change things or to improve things, you hit walls sometimes that you have to knock down or go around. So just be patient with us, and I hope that the discussion that we have today will bless you and be worth the wait. Okay? First of all, my name is Nina Thompson. I am the Executive Director of Rosa Sharon Ministries, and this is Make Your Life Work project. Make Your Life Work is a project, an organizational project that encourages people to use what they have to make it work, right? Not to stay in a place where you're complaining and you're whining and you're sad and you're depressed and just wallowing in your situation, where you can find something. One thing is on one thing in your space or one thing in your house, you can find something that can encourage you and make you move. It's about putting one foot in front of the other. So that's the whole idea behind the Make Your Life Work project. Today, I have the pleasure of having a dear friend with me, and I knew I would forget. So I'll let her remind you of what our topic is, but having a dear friend with me, and I was going to ask her to introduce herself to you, because she can do herself more justice than I can.
Thank you, Nina. So I am Shaunda White, and our topic today is single and willingly waiting, which is so powerful.
Say that again.
Single and willingly waiting.
And we need you to beam in on that willingly.
Yes.
Because we do a lot of waiting, but usually we're protesting while we're waiting.
Exactly, exactly. So I love this topic. When Nina approached me about coming on here, we were kind of going through some topics. And when I started talking about this, she was like, this is perfect, because I've been single and willingly waiting for quite some time now. And I believe that there are a lot of perceptions when you're single, especially a woman of my age. I'm in my 50s and I've already had my children,
Right.
and
Exactly.
I'm single. There's a lot of perception of, if you're single now, you've already had children and all of this stuff, that there's got to be something wrong.
Right, exactly.
Like, what's wrong?
And I want to take you guys back to the title again. It says willingly wait. Right? It's like when your mother told you or your father told you to wait for something and you grumbled and you waited. We're not talking about that. Right? Or if somebody said, I'm bringing something to you, and you tapping the table saying, where are they? We're not talking about impatience. We're talking about from your head to your toe and within, waiting and doing it willingly.
Exactly.
That's the ticket. A lot of times we grumble and moan and we whine and we say, well, you said it, where is it? You know, we go through all this. But when you're willingly waiting, there's a whole different posture that you can walk into. Right?
Exactly. And especially when you're waiting, like I've been this way for quite some time. So I have had relationships, and I'm now at a point where I'm so well aligned with God in my life. And he's telling me, just keep waiting, because if I brought you that man right now, the relationship wouldn't work. It's not gonna last. So I think that's important too.
That is absolutely.
We talk about timing. So I got to the point where, okay, God, I'm willing and I'm waiting, and I'm going to enjoy and I'm going to enhance my single as I do this.
And you know, that's a good point, because I had God tell me when I was, and I'll tell you guys, I'll share my story, not because I'm so happy about it, which I am, but because I think it's informative. But I had the Spirit of the Lord tell me, I can't send him now because you'll destroy him.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because I am strong-willed, right? I am very opinionated. I did not know how to tone it down. I had to know all the answers. I had to call all the moves. You know, you know how it is when you're assisting, you're working in, you've been working in corporate America, you've been working as a director of this or director of that, you have your own company, maybe you establish a ministry, you got it going on, right? You it. And so sometimes it's hard to negotiate that relationship with a husband. Mm-hmm. And he knew that I needed to be walked with. It took 9 years.
It's all about timing. God's timing, not ours.
Mm-hmm. 9 years. So that's why we have to be patient. We don't want to get it and lose it. And that's just not in mate, that's in everything. We rush. I gotta have it now, I gotta have it. And I got to the point where I had so many things that I wanted that I got tired of wanting things.
Mhm.
Come on. You know, we got classes for each other.
Yeah.
We got a new car every 3 or 4 years. It gets played out, it gets old. So when you're talking about satisfying your heart's desires, those things don't do it. Right? So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, again, waiting and being willing to wait. And knowing, you don't even have to know. Matter of fact, I suggest you don't even really go into depth about what you want. I was telling Shaunda, she told me to just share it, so I will.
Yes,
You know, I got married, I guess it's been 2, maybe 3 years ago. It seems like 3 years, but I think it's been 2 years ago. And it took 9 years. And the funny thing is, my husband knew my family. He didn't know me, he knew everybody else in my family. And I remember the Lord saying, stop dating. Because we tend to think we can date while we wait. You can't date while you wait. Because if you date while you wait and you get lost, you add some length onto your waiting. You can't slip and slide. You can't. Okay, but it's not gonna, in the end, it gets added on. What I'm trying to think of what that is, that's something that you can do in life. And every time you get, you mess up, they add something on.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it lengthens your wait. But I was proud of myself. I did it. I fought a little bit at first. I mean, I remember walking in grocery stores and guys would walk and say, oh, she's, I could, this is pretty, how you doing? And I said, fine. I said, maybe this is, they're just running, And so I forgot that I had asked God to put a fence around me.
Yeah.
Until I was strong enough to fence myself. So that's probably point number one. If you want it, act like you want it, and don't be afraid to ask, to access spiritual.
Yeah.
So that you can protect yourself until you're big enough and strong enough.
And if I may just add on to that one point, I would love to. So a prayer that I have been praying for quite some time is, Lord, if this is not the man that you have for me, make it apparent, make it apparent. Don't even let me entertain it. So now I'm at a point now where, it's almost like instantly, there's nothing there. There's no sparks. I don't even want to go any further. I don't even want to continue having conversations. When you pray those prayers, God will send you what you're asking for, because I feel like I've been there too many times, and I've entertained relationships that I should not have, and in the end, I only end up more frustrated. Like, okay, I'm ready to get out of this single role. When are you sending them to me? He said, okay, all right. So I prayed the prayer, and now it's like, it's nothing to me, because it's like I know instantly. It's like I know instantly. God is telling me, you're not feeling any sparks because this is not who I have for you. So
exactly, and I want to footnote that too as well. So not only is it, not only are you being shielded from the sparks, even if that is your future husband, you can move too soon and lose it.
I agree with that.
So sometimes, like I think I heard his name, and I know he was working on some stuff for my sister, and I'm just going to admit, I don't think I was a snob. I think I was protective of me, right? So when I did meet him, my sister called and she said, can you go meet him to do so? I said, I don't feel like it, but I will. So I'm driving and I called and I said, are you there yet? He's like, I'm not there. I said, you're not there? Yeah, that's fine. All right. I was just really not nice. I was not nice. We got there to my friend's house and we laughed and talked the whole time. Then we went to the service station. He said, you need to go to the service station. We pull in and I raised my window down. And I turned my window down and I said, do you need me to give you $20? Because I didn't get the money from my sister. Did y'all hear that? Do you need me? Just insult after insult after insult, right? And I don't know if that was the snootiness in me, and that's why I went so long, or if that was just me being protected. Long story short, my sister kept telling me to call him to fix stuff, and I was like, nah, I want a company to do it. I want a warranty. And finally, a year later, after our initial meeting, I called him, and he came over to fix some stuff. I think I was telling Sharon that when I called, he said, hey, beautiful. I said, this is Peggy's sister. It's funny now, but it's shameful in my spirit, right? So he came over to start working on the house. And the first night we just connected. And by the third day, we agreed that we weren't, we didn't need to date to see if we were going to be married. We already did. And so it can work like that, but it's not an easy journey. I just use that to encourage people that just because it's been 4 years doesn't mean it won't happen. You know, it's called preparatory phase. That's why they call it that. Yeah. And there's something else you said. You were, oh, I did. I think I responded to that when you were talking about not rushing things. Because again, if that is your husband to be, you can rush it right out. And I believe that God will take back what he gives you if you abuse it. Absolutely. There's no guarantee that you get to keep what you've been blessed with. Right? And that's even a life principle. So we just need to be careful. We need to be careful, and we need to wait. And as we're waiting, be productive. Yeah, absolutely. Don't keep looking out the window. You know, like when you're waiting on a ride, you look out the window. By the time they come, you're frustrated, and you look at the clock. It's only been 5 minutes. Right? But your impatience has bred that in you, that anxiety. So that's the other thing.
Even the devil is that, yeah.
Willingly. That's why we say willingly.
Exactly, because I would like to demit the people will view, especially from a woman herself, she can, and I've had some friends like this, where they feel like they're incomplete without a man or a husband. They feel like that person completes them. So it's important to know that we are whole by ourselves, first of all. A man doesn't come up, God is not gonna send you a man to complete you. Right. He's gonna send you a man that compliments you on what you're doing. You know, and I don't mean that to say, okay, you're so beautiful, or he's giving you compliments. I'm saying to compliment you as a whole.
Compliment with
to add. Exactly.
For those who know how to spell.
Exactly. So changing your mindset of being single and embracing it makes the world a difference. Because to be honest, I truly want my husband that God's gonna send me, but I am perfectly fine waiting for him, because I'd rather be by myself than be with the wrong person. I'm glad you said perfectly fine waiting for him. She didn't say I'm perfectly fine if he doesn't come. Because I think sometimes when you're single, I don't know that people shame you, but I think you feel ashamed because that's what I was talking about. It's like you're thirsty or you're desirous. Yes. Right. And so that's the other thing we deal with sometimes, you know, speak it into existence. Don't worry about what people are saying about you being desperate, where you go, she's always somebody, well, that's the desire. You know, it doesn't work the other way with men. You say, oh yeah, I wouldn't have one too. Right. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know why there's that that stigma attached to us wanting a mate. It's natural to want your person, as they call it. Right. So that's the other thing I wanted to mention, though, because I do think sometimes they'll say, because I used to do the same thing. They say, all the single ladies that want to be married, stand up. And I'm not looking desperate. I'm sitting right here in my seat. That's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. That's interesting. And by grace, right? I made my request known, where they had to be made known, right? And it worked. But I didn't go to singles events. I didn't play that. I'm not coming to a woman's single event. For what? I can be single at home. Interesting. Right? And so there is a stigma attached to it sometimes, you know, that you're thirsty or that you're desperate or things like that. And so I was very aware of that. And I also was very aware that I was whole by myself if I had to finish life. There you go. That's what I was saying. I'm an accomplished woman. So you can compliment it, or I can just keep doing what I'm doing, right? And I don't mean accomplished like degrees. I haven't, but that's not what I'm talking about. I mean accomplished in my mind. Exactly. I love Nina. I respect Nina. There you go. I know Nina can get down. That's what it's all about. So that's important. Had that not happened, I would have survived. I would have been happy as I am, because I'm just like giggly happy. I'm 30 years old again, you know, but I would have survived. So as you're waiting, step out and do some stuff that you haven't done. Exactly. I accomplished more in that 9-year wait than I probably accomplished my whole life. Because I knew I needed to be, I felt like when my man came, but I wanted him to say, and that's exactly what praise God, it worked. When my man came, I wanted him to say, wow. First and foremost, I love God because God must really love me. And second is I adore you. Mm,
You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
mean, you wait that long, you want the real deal. You want, so
Exactly.
don't compete, you don't have to prove that you can do without him, because you already know that,
Yep.
right? I'm very open about, I'm like, man, I just look at him sometimes and I say, man, you are just it.
Mhm.
Where I used to be hardcore. I didn't even know I like him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's the other thing, posture. I'm
Yeah.
trying to segue
It's
into some of our conversations.
it's like, don't focus on the weight.
And don't focus
Don't
on,
focus on the weight.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't focus on what you're going to do when it happens.
And when it comes to me, so I think that my story and Nina's story are pretty similar because God told her he was going to send her a husband. So she knew it was coming. And that's where I'm at too. And to even add to this discussion, I've already been married and divorced twice. Okay. So I've already been down that road. Yeah, 2 times. I've been down that road 2
The
times.
third time is a charm. You do remember that.
Okay. I'm waiting on it, Lord. Come on now. But knowing that he's told me many years ago, I've been divorced since 2012. I've only had one, what I would call a real relationship since then. But I've been divorced since 2012. And the thing that I focused on now, I don't focus on the weight. I focus on what God is telling me that he's going to send me. So he has already told me he's going to send me this husband. Now, no relationship is perfect. So I'm not saying we're going to be perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship.
But you will have the ability to perfect each other.
Yes.
And that's what it is. It's about having the ability to be equally yoked in that.
So I'm a naturally excitable person. Maybe y'all can feel it, maybe y'all can't. But I'm excited about what I know God is sending. Even though I have no idea when it's gonna happen. There's nothing even in the works right now to make me think that it's gonna happen soon. But I'm excited about what I know that he's gonna send me. So that helps me, because I'm not,
Absolutely.
like I said, don't focus on the weight. I'm not focusing on the weight.
And you just reminded me of something I used to do.
Mhm.
The Spirit told me to do. I used to write letters to my future husband.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I like
Yeah, I
that.
didn't do it every day like I was supposed to. But just like I was writing him and he was away.
I like that.
And when I met him, the first time he came to do the work, we just clicked. We just laughed. It was just so, and I don't know if that helped make it that way, but it was so natural. I felt like I'd known him my whole life. Oh, right. And then it was immediately a safe space for both of us.
And it's those things, like I said,
Little things
I
like
believe
that.
when I meet him, I'm a no.
So start writing your letters.
When I meet him, I believe I'm a no.
I'm serious. Start writing your letters. Because
I like
the other
that.
thing the letters will do is they make you intentional.
Okay,
Like,
I like that.
if I'm putting my words on this paper, I have to think it through. Make sense? So it's almost like they held me captive. I couldn't change my mind because in other words, if I said, well, I hate cooking, but I'll cook 3 days a week and hope that'll be comfortable. You know what I mean? Or I'll try. Those things that in my letter to my husband, my future husband, held me to my word.
Okay, I like that.
And sometimes that's the compromise.
I don't know if you ever told me about that. I
did, and
that.
I forgot all about it
Okay.
until we were just talking.
I like that. That's great. That's great information. I love that.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
And just learning how to communicate. That's the other challenge. One of the, I don't know how much time we have, but one of the biggest challenges is learning to communicate, because it's different communicating to a husband, I think, than it is communicating to somebody that's just in your life.
Yeah.
At least it is for me, because I'm like, you could be gone and I'm good.
I agree.
Which is awful to think you'd be involved with somebody that you could feel that way about, but we do it, right? So, but I think when I say something that does not please my husband or that may offend my husband, it hurts me. That's the difference. Okay. Because I used to be like, wow. I mean, I did. They used to tell me I act like a man.
I understand. I've been told that too. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So those are the things, I guess, just little tidbits, Go ahead.
No, but because this is kind of like a different topic, but one of the things that, like I said, I've been single for so many years. One of the things that really used to bother me was when people would be like, "Why are you single?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they used to say, yeah.
That's kind of like adds on to the I'm waiting, I'm here, and I don't have a man, and this, that, and the other. But I've learned to embrace that now. I learned to embrace that now. And I used to say, when they asked me that question, I was like, oh, because I'm crazy, you know, to make a little joke about it or whatever. But now, every time somebody asks me that question, and I still get that, you know, every time somebody asks me that question, it's like, because I'm waiting because I'm waiting on God to send me who he has for me.
Or because I'm not married, that's why I'm single. Ha! Yeah, that's sarcasm, but my sarcasm, but sometimes that keeps me from getting upset and angry. You know?
And
they laugh when you say
and I
it.
think it used to frustrate me so much. I was like, don't you know I'm trying to work on getting me a man? Like, why everybody keep asking me that?
Especially when they say, you're so nice, you're attractive.
You're so pretty.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you leave with that in your ear, you say, what's wrong with me?
Exactly.
So just for those who do that, it does not help.
That's why I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to bring that up for that reason. Yes, absolutely.
So you have to be very careful of, we're just human beings, you know, we just, have desires, and people have desires on a whole lot of stuff that they're running. So it's not that deep.
And once you talk about desires, I think this is important to bring up too, because males have desires, females have desires too. But I also, no, seriously, I think this is great to bring up. So I also ask for God to take that desire away from me too, in a way. So it's like I have everything I need right now.
No, just.
So I'm not missing any. You know, you feel like when you're single, you're missing out on stuff. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. And I have my health,
because you know
I have my family, I have everything.
And you know what? I know now that all that little trifling was nothing. It don't even compare. You're right. So you're not really missing out on it. It's just in our head that we think we're missing something that was enjoyable and that was good. But I have to say, in retrospect, I never felt good. Okay.
God would give me too. God would give me too. God would give me too.
I never felt good about Nina, because in my heart, I knew that there should be some kind of covenant. Right? So I don't know if I'm picking up from somebody on there, and I had to say, because I wasn't planning on sharing that. But I think the reality is, if you've come up in a traditional family, or you know, if you got straight folks in your family, straight people, you know, your parents or whatever, you understand that it's not supposed to be willing to be hit and miss. That wears you out spiritually.
It does.
Right. And so I think for a lot of my friends, if we're honest with each other, we will say there were times when I knew that had deflated me. Right. And even worse, I'm just gonna be, you know, I'm gonna put myself out there. What? I call it a one night stand, but it wasn't. I knew the person. But it's the co-star's day. So I said, nice, you know, and I felt nothing. Yeah. He was holding my hand. Oh, he was holding my hand, walking me back to my dorm. Yeah. And he said, oh, it was, like, and I determined that day to spend the rest of my time at least trying. I don't have a clean record, but trying to be at least true. Yeah. To what was not only physically and you know, yearning, but also what was emotionally and spiritually talking. Because there's nothing where I think I felt worse being on the side of the one that didn't care, as opposed to thinking somebody didn't care about me. Because I always said, I can handle it, give it to me, you know. So that, I just want to share that, because I think that's a lot of that.
I think that is, and another thing we tend, and I've done this, but like I said, I've only had one real relationship in the past, 10 years since I've been divorced? No, it's been more than 10 years, but when that relationship ended, I really felt like a failure. I really did, because I had put so much hope, because I date with a purpose. I date for a purpose. I'm not gonna even date a person if I don't feel like, you know, this is my husband.
That's kind of maturity.
And so when I dated that guy for like 2 years, I already had built up the hope that marriage was the ending result. You know what I'm saying? And so when we broke up, I felt devastated. I really felt like a failure. And I felt like, okay, here I am back again, you know, with nothing to hold on to. So I say that because I feel like somebody can really, maybe somebody's going through this. And you know what? And this is the really sad thing about that. When that relationship ended, it really didn't end on a good note. Not a good note at all. Actually, there were police involved. I'm serious. Somebody need to hear this, okay? And, I remember hearing my spirit tell me this had to happen.
Right.
That relationship had to end. It had to happen. So, and I beat myself up for a little while for that, after that, because, I thought we were gonna end up married and stuff like that. So if you are in a relationship and it ends, just know that's for your best interest. God is looking out for you because he did it for me. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I've already been married twice. And he's like, well, I'm not gonna let you walk down that road again. Bro, you didn't even consult with me. Now I got your attention. So I'm gonna guide you. So don't beat yourself up if a relationship ends. Just know everything happens for a reason. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
And I want to hit this. No, I kind of want to hit it pretty hard. I'm not a prude. I'm not a Puritan, and I won't even try to sit here and say what you shouldn't do before you get married. But what I will tell you is everything you did prior to your marriage, you're going to regret. So if the Holy Spirit gives you an opportunity to start what feels like a clean slate, my suggestion is you do that and just say no. Right? Be courted for a while. See how that feels to be courted.
Absolutely.
We talking about a ring. That's the one thing we said. We're not dating. We're courting. We're not dating. We're preparing for marriage.
Exactly.
Let's make this, because if we're not, I'm going, because I understand what was told to me, right? So don't waste time. If it is your mate, you will be able to control those urges.
Absolutely. I'm telling you.
The most devastating thing in the world is like what she just said. You think it's your mate, and it goes not only left, it goes way left. And then you lose confidence in your ability to discern and to understand what's going on in the spiritual realm. So I would just, if you shut it down, just shut it down.
And you told me that. You prophesied to me maybe about a year ago. And that's what you said.
Shut it down.
God said, shut it down, girl. I was like, okay.
And it's like riding the bike. Once you used to shut it down, it's not like, oh, this is so tough. It's really not that tough.
And that's again.
It's the fear of being alone forever. That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll do it, because my husband is what, 7 or 8 years younger than you. So don't worry about your age. Right? He's going to send you who's for you.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I think, do we have any questions in the chat?
Not yet, but
okay,
they can hear. So if there are any questions,
I guess
I have a question. I have a question.
And so just to go back, just to kind of summarize where we started. It is not a judgment on our part, I don't think. And Sharon and I are a lot alike. We actually were born around the same time, and so we have a lot of the same things in common. But it's not a judgment call to say, wait. It is more of an admonishment, I guess, because it's stronger than a suggestion. I think when you wait, first of all, you begin to feel like a new woman.
absolutely.
I won't say what Madonna said, but you know the song, right? So that's how you begin to feel.
Yeah.
Okay, let's entertain the question.
Can you, she didn't say what her question was, but can she say it?
Yeah. She can go ahead and type it in.
Okay. That's what I was gonna tell her. Go ahead, post her question. So they can hear it. So go ahead and post your question or comment. Chelsea had a question.
That's what my babies, I don't know what that is.
Oh, what does idolizing a man look like? Ooh, praise God. I love that question, because idolizing a man means you put that man before anything. And we should never put anything before God, first of all. And it's like you're going above and beyond. Like, even if you know this person is not treating you how you deserve to be treated, you still sticking around. You still being there. You still making yourself available for that person. That's idolizing a man. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
It's so much more that I can add to that, but go ahead, Sister Nina. No, but because I've been there before and I've done that, and I've stuck around for the wrong reasons, and I put that man before almost anything because I wanted to make sure that this relationship
That
is
is
gonna
enough.
work. Even if I knew that he wasn't treating me the way I deserved to be treated, even if I knew, I might not have known at the time, even if I knew that this wasn't the person that God had for me, I still would do everything that I would do to please him, you know, giving him wifely duties when we're not even married, like, you know, and that's what it really is. When you put that person, when you idolize the man, you willing to stick around for anything. You willing to let him treat you any old kind of way, and you still gonna defend that person, and you still gonna give them your love.
Yeah.
You're still gonna do all of that. So I've dealt with that situation before. So
Okay, so
that I love that question.
Let me speak what's not idolization, just because I think, for me anyway, you know, when you're strong woman, you're professional, you think I'm not gonna. What she described is not the same thing as being proud of your man. What she described is not the same thing as every once in a while saying, oh, he makes me go.
I love that.
That's not idolization. That's saying, really, I mean, when I say it, because I've never really talked about my relationships as much as I talk about it. But when I say it, it's like, I say to people that know my journey, right? And to me, it's a cosign that if you try it, it can work. So it's not idolatry, I'm not idolizing him, far from it. But I am saying it can be a perfect yoke if you just do it the right way. So that's the other side.
like
That's
that.
the opposite side of that.
I like that. I like
There's
that.
nothing wrong with loving who you have and celebrating who you have. And I've seen it on Facebook sometimes. Oh, here we go again. So I try not to hit it too heavy, but I can't help it. I've been waiting, and I'm at that place. So there's nothing wrong with celebrating your man publicly or otherwise. It's just like she said. She just gave you the description of that word. Did that answer the question?
And then some. Was it another question? I thought it was two.
But I
questions.
think, yeah, there's another question.
Oh, okay.
But I wanted to piggyback on that. It's the same thing as you're making excuses for
Yeah, absolutely.
That's another way you can
Absolutely.
them. And that's almost on the same line of abuse.
Mhm.
You know,
It is a form of abuse.
abusers, you know, when you're in an abusive relationship, you keep making excuses for,
Exactly.
you know, and so forth. So
And abuse relationship. Exactly. Thank you. And you don't have to have somebody that's hitting on you to be in an abusive relationship, because it can be mentally, it can be emotionally, it can be a lot of different abuse that you could go through. So I love that. Thank you for adding that.
And that is a lot of some of the stuff you were saying. I would probably classify as abuse instead of idolizing, because to me that's putting somebody on a pedestal and saying they're perfect.
It is, yeah.
And I have in my life, I've always, because I'll say that now, I'll tell like Valerie, but so I try to make sure that I always leave that space to say nothing is perfect, even me.
Absolutely.
So that's how you do it. That's how you keep yourself grounded. Cool. Good questions.
Another
Yes.
question.
Okay, yeah.
What are your thoughts on the whole game of dating, playing hard to get?
I think it depends on where you are, right? No, let me say it like this. I think the degree of playing hard to get depends on where you are, right? Sometimes you just know. If you're in that place where you just know, you can do that a little bit, but that becomes tiring, because it's not like a man catches a woman. It's like you catch each other. And I think when you play it like hard to get, you're playing it like I'm the prize that you get to unwrap and win, right? So I don't have as much power as you. So you want to be careful that you don't get, and I'm glad you asked that question, because one of the things I have to say I don't know if all young women do that, women, period, is I don't have a price tag on my back, right? So you can never pay me what I'm worth. So I don't feel like you should pay for everything every day, because I don't want you to feel like you got that much power. We live in a society that teaches us as female that we should never, take anybody to dinner, that we shouldn't have to pay for anything. You want our nails done, you should pay for my nails and my shoes and my socks and to me, while that may be nice, it gives away your power to make your own choices and do your own thing. That's what I would say to that.
I think the question, what was the question again? What are our thoughts on playing hard to get?
Right, and that's part of the plan. That's what that
Okay.
plays into it. If you're playing hard to get, then they're having to do something to get you.
Right.
And that's what they're doing to get you. They're giving you money, they're taking you to dinner, they're buying you. That's what I'm saying. That's why that
And when we
is
think
connected.
about playing hard to get, sometimes it can be really one-sided, where the woman feels like this man needs to prove everything to her, which can eventually be a turn.
Right, and that's exactly what I, yeah, it's two sides.
Yeah, so I feel like the whole playing hard to get, I think that if I was dating somebody right now, I would already set those boundaries, so we would be on the same page, like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna make him feel like he needs to chase me if this is my
He can
person.
pursue you, but not chase you. That's
Exactly,
different.
exactly.
Right.
So, and it
Exactly.
brings up another question, because I have a friend where she would constantly be like, well, he gotta prove himself to me, he better chase me, and he better call me every day, and he better text me and let me know that he liked me, and then if I decide to respond, I will. But I think that's very one-sided, you know, and I think after a while, so it's learning those boundaries between you and that person when y'all start courting or whatever we're talking
You
about.
just took that word out my spirit. I
Okay.
was sitting there thinking, that's not courting.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're doing it the way we were talking about,
Exactly.
but that's not being courted.
So I think setting those boundaries, and when you with the right person, I think it's gonna come naturally.
Yes.
So you're not gonna have to feel like you have to put this person through so much stuff to prove that they want you or want to be with you or your mate or whatever.
And I also don't, just real quickly, I don't know this for a fact, but my spiritual and educated self says that the more power I give someone, the less power I have.
I agree with that.
So we need to think about that as women when we're letting men do everything for us, or our partners do everything. Okay, and let's put a period on it. And we have a question in here too.
What do you feel like would be a good example of God being the center of the courtship? And when you are at a stage where you feel like God is allowing you to kind of just date, not
Spend time,
or anything of that nature, how do you keep God in the center of that when you're getting to know someone?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I think the first thing you do is you become comfortable. One of the things I tell my young adults, I've told them this from the beginning, this is a good example that speaks to what you're asking, is I don't care if you're in the middle of, if you're in the bed and you're sinning. If spirit tells you to pray for that person, I want you to sit up and pray for that person. Because what we tend to do is separate our sin from our fun. And as long as you're doing that, you're gonna continue to do it.
Exactly.
So I think an answer to your question is that you ease into praying together. You ease into talking about, you know, what are your spiritual beliefs? You understand what I'm saying? Because if you force that conversation to come out, things will come out and you will develop that relationship. That's what I did, you know, and I didn't know. I needed to know because I'm ordained. I mean, you gotta tell me what you're doing, what you believe in. So you ask the question. And then you be conscious of little things, like intentionally, if you go to dinner, take your blessing before you eat. That's not a big thing, but that says, I believe in praying, right? And then and ask them, what do you believe? You don't have to believe exactly what I believe, but you do have to believe that there's a spiritual realm that we should operate in.
And I love
That's
her,
what
I
I
love
was
your
saying.
question, because she asked, for the audience, she asked, how do you stay God-centered when you're in a relationship? And I've battled that in the past. And one of the things that I would do if I was in a relationship and we were doing things we shouldn't be doing, not being married, I would kind of shy away from
You said
God.
to avoid doing things you shouldn't be
No, I
doing
said if you're not
physically.
outside of not
You're not physically active, right? That's what she said. They're not. Yeah, they're being. And you just
well,
keep
then I
pushing
love-
them in.
yeah, I
keep
love
pushing
that,
them
yeah.
forward. Because what we do
absolutely.
is we put them in a drawer so we can get away with what we want to do.
Exactly.
And that not only will that keep you centered, that'll tell you who you're dealing with. Not good or bad, just who. If you say God, oh, that's not, he's not ready, or that's not the one.
Right.
Or, whatever. So I was proud of myself because I was very intentional. I wanted to find out who he was. I already had his character check mark, but because I have been called to do what I'm doing, I need to find out who you are. I'm not perfect, but I do need to know that you have that relationship, that you have that faith. even if it's boo-boo, we can negotiate that. You know, because you started with faith and I could just
Mhm.
eventually pull you, but you know what I'm saying? This has to be something that to start with. There has to be something that tells me that you believe there's something greater than you. That is a part of who you are. So-
I feel
so
like that's
what
where
you
I'm at
do.
right now,
You keep-
because
you keep
I've
pushing.
never felt closer to God right now.
And
Than
you
I do
ask
right
them.
now.
That's the other thing we just
Yeah.
said. You ask them where they are.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And once you ask somebody, what do you think about faith? What do you think about religion? And they answer, they have to stand up on what they answer. We said, "Wait, I thought you told me. Da, 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 da." Right. Mhm. So you hold them to it. Not for perfection, though. Not so they can be perfect, but so that they will know that they have to toe whatever they say. You got it? Okay. Do we have any more questions?
So intentional conversation
Mhm.
on topics, listening,
They don't want to do
retaining,
it, don't they?
and also paying attention to, because a lot of times we either hear what we want to hear,
Yeah,
and then there are times when we do hear it, and again, we make excuses or we ignore it.
Absolutely.
And again, that's those
Absolutely.
red flags.
And absolutely.
Those are
We
those
need to
red
talk about red
Yeah,
flags. That's a good one.
discussion.
I like that. I like that.
Another question from the Zoom chat here. I'm gonna do ages. Oh, what are some things you've done in singlehood to focus on you and build yourself up while you're waiting on your husband?
I take myself out to eat. I will travel by myself. I just really pamper myself because I'm loving me. It's really all about me right now. And like, seriously, you know what I'm saying? And so I just do, and people think you're missing out on stuff because you don't have nobody to go and do that with. I do those things anyway. I do it myself, you know, like I went to a concert yesterday and I just loved it. I love me some Mary J. Blige. And, but I do this more and more. You know, sometimes I just go to a spa and just pamper myself. So it's a lot of stuff that I do just because I appreciate myself. And that's so important. That's so important. It's so important, my mental health too.
That's what I was going to say, is I didn't and I don't, and I never have done anything while waiting, right? I've been very intentional about doing the things I want to do, period. You know, I went to school to get my degree. I wanted those. I went to school to get those. I did volunteer work. I started the Young Adult. I did everything that I wanted to do. So that's my answer. My answer is forget about the waiting.
Don't focus
Right.
on the way.
Don't focus on the waiting. Focus on what you want to become and what you're led to become, and do your thing. And in the midst of doing your thing, you're going to find your husband or your wife, I think. So yeah, I tend to be a type A overachiever. And we're totally different. Not that he's not an overachiever, it's just, you know, if you look at my so-called credentials, they're different from his, but we perfectly match. So do your thing, stay in your lane. I've always been, I want to try that, I want to try that, I want to try that. I want to go back to school, I want to go back to school. And that's who I was, and that's who I am, you know? So do you, don't worry about your why.
Absolutely.
Follow your spirit and do you.
I think you guys answered Asia's other question was, how do you deal with feeling like you have to have everything together before you can win a person? And it's, you know, like you should have
never-
everything together.
Well, you never gotta have
beforehand.
everything together.
That's very true.
So I want, because that's my baby and we have that same issue. So I can tell you, forget it. You're never going to have everything together. But what you can do is be prepared for your mate, right? And you can answer the call that you have to do particular things. Make sense? Some of the best relationships I have with young adults started in the classroom. I didn't really want to do teaching. And I have loved it. I loved it so much. I taught in 4 different institutions. I love and I can see you, like you walked in here, it's been years, and it just blessed my whole body from head to toe. So do what you're led to do what you have a passion for, and the love ever after will come. Don't even worry about it. That's how you bless yourself.
Okay, we're gonna take one more question, just to be respectful of everyone's time. How can a person build a healthy marriage? if they've never seen one.
Oh, I like that.
That is,
Yes.
that
Oh,
is,
wait.
that's good.
That's deep.
I can take a shot at that. I've seen, my mother and father were relatively healthy initially. But I was my father's baby. So trust me, I saw some stuff, right? And, I saw how my mother was getting me and kind of respond, I saw some of the stuff. So that's a tough one. I think, honesty first, but honesty with love, right? Not jabbing at you, not using it to get next to you, not minimizing you, but honesty. The second one, I think, is being willing to listen to other perspectives instead of protect yourself. We protect our space sometimes when we shut down. Like, I have no problem apologizing. I have no problem with saying, but I qualify it. I might say, I don't like what I said to you, but this is what I meant, but we still need to address it. Just a conversation. Conversation is, it's amazing. Those late night conversations when you're up and there's something in your system. Sometimes what we do, women can do this. We will have an art with somebody and we'll take it out on them in all kind of little bitty ways before we discuss it, right? Before we really have a conversation about it. Don't do that. You didn't ask, but don't do it. But that's one of the things you don't do. So I think communication is key. I think admiration is key, right? Find the admirable things about your partner. I think it is important to do some things you don't want to do just because your partner wants you to do them, and they will do the same to you. So everything is reciprocal, I believe, in a relationship, if it's a good one. The more you give, the more you get. So that's what
I love that question, and it's hard for me to answer it from that point of view because my parents are still together to this day. 53 years they've been together, and they've always gave me that real balance and a healthy relationship. I actually blame my dad for both of my divorces because he showed me what a real man was. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that a healthy relationship, Nina was touching base on it, will be both people being accountable. Not one person putting the blame on the other person, or when I tell you I'm feeling a certain way, you're trying to flip it back on me like you shouldn't feel that way. Well, you can't tell me how I feel. Be accountable. And that is definitely a big sign of a healthy relationship where both people are being accountable.
their partner.
There's no narcissistic type of behaviors going on. I think that is a huge factor.
And be okay with
Yeah.
being wrong.
Yes.
That's the same. That's tantamount to what you're saying too. Be okay with being the one who's out of order. Because I know me, I hate to.
And
But you did that. But you did that. But so speak it. Say, I love you and I didn't want to hurt you. So da, 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 da. Deal with your issues and deal with your issues openly with your partner. So there's no magic to it. There's no Houdini hat that you can shake up. You just have to, I think your intent has to be to love and care for this individual and to be fair. Absolutely, right.
From both
And to
sides.
protect.
From both sides.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, from both sides.
Mhm.
You have to go in with the intent that you love this person, you respect this person, and you want to have an honest and loving relationship with this person.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we put ourselves first because we're afraid. But and I'm working through that after being single for so long. Sometimes I'll say stuff and I know it's exercise, it's saying I don't trust you. But because I waited, I think I got the person that understands that and is not offended by that. Right? He's like, that's okay. I'm still gonna prove it. So just speak it. Sometimes when you speak stuff in the atmosphere that is causing issues, guess what? It loses its power. When you speak it to your mate, it'll lose its power. So that's just a little tidbits and I haven't been married long, but I've been dealing with relationships. That's my thing, that's what we do in the ministry. We teach you how to manage your anger. We teach you how to be in relationships, familial relationships, dating relationships, friendly relationships, business. We teach you how to make your life work. And in order to make your life work right, you have to work right. For at least purpose to work right. Right? So thank everybody. Do you have any more questions here? What time are we at? Okay. So we were running a little bit late tonight. I want to say I appreciate, first I want to thank you, Shaunda.
Thank you for having me.
tonight. And I want to say that I appreciate, I want to say, I've been talking to you all too much. I appreciate, right, I'm an English major. I appreciate the thoughtfulness that I think was put into this session. It is an important subject. We do want healthy families, because healthy marriages equal healthy kids. And we know what it's looking like out there now. So I encourage you to try to be healthy. And if you're not healthy, I encourage you to get with a group of people that can help you be healthy. I think that's I'm just gonna put a plug in there for the Make Your Life Work project. There's only a small group of us now, but we've done like conferences. We did 4 or 5 conferences. We've been, one of my babies tonight, they're not even babies. I don't know why I keep calling them babies. She's like 30-something years old, right? But the thing is, we've been able to create a space where we all belong until we die, right? And that space multiplies. So find somewhere, it doesn't have to be here, find somewhere though, besides church, right? Where you can show up 120% yourself and bring your issues to the group or bring your issues to an individual and they can talk with you and work you through. Right? Because we got a lot of this thinking nasty attitudes out there. We got disloyalty out there. We got abuse out there. We got self-hate out there. We got a whole lot of stuff out there that needs to be mitigated before we can be in healthy relationships. And what's wrong is we keep duplicating that because we keep getting from in relationships that when we're not healthy. So it's one episode after another, and then we begin to feel unlovable. And we turn it in on ourselves. So get healthy. I don't care how you do it. I don't care where you go. I don't care if you don't call us. You should, because I'm good at what I do. It's my gift. But if you don't, get somewhere where you can grow and be healthy so that you attract health. And that's what we have for you tonight. Thank you for joining. And I wish you pure, unadulterated, God-sent love in whatever forms it comes to you. Thank you.